Guys, welcome on into Three Bold Takes. I'm Freddie, joined by Quinn here. Chase is currently working, unfortunately. Hopefully to have him back real soon. It's a busy week in college athletics, as you know, as we're watching week to week. So Chase, we miss you and hope you're back soon. Moving on to week 5 predictions here. We've got a big slate of games. I mean, we've got two monstrous games and then two big games when it talks conference standings and implications for conference championship games down the road. But we have two Friday night games to go at first here, Quinn. The first one is 6 p.m. on ESPN. We've got number 8, Florida State, traveling to Virginia. Florida State's a 6.5-point favorite, according to ESPN Bet. And listen, this is the first time that we've seen Florida State since they absolutely beat the Soul and Will to Live out of Alabama in week 1. Since then, they've played a bunch of absolute nobodies and have looked good doing it. I mean, you're talking 70 points, 66 points. They had a bye week in there too. So I don't know, man. Is Florida State really back, and should they be in the top 10?
Florida State should definitely be in the top 10. I know they played nobodies after the Alabama game, but let's be real. They've pretty much had flawless execution in every single game they've played in. Relative in the Alabama game, right? And then legitimately flawless execution against nobodies. That's an elite football team right there. And I'm sorry, I don't really understand why the spread is 6.5. I know Virginia's undefeated right now, or at least I'm pretty sure they are.
They got one
Uh,
loss.
they
They
have
got
one
beat
loss.
by
Okay,
NC State.
Okay, so I get it's a home game for Virginia. This Florida State team's probably going to win this game comfortably. Let's just get that out of the way. Now I know Friday night in the ACC can get weird. Like when you see the big upsets in the ACC, they're happening in those random Friday night games when nobody's paying attention, and it's kind of the headline. It seems like at least once a year there's a major Friday night upset in the ACC. And it leads the headlines on game day the next morning. This won't be one of those games. I expect Castellanos to play extremely well on the road. Florida State, right now, let's be real. That showdown between Florida State and Miami that's coming up, probably going to have major implications on who wins the ACC because Clemson's a joke. They don't exist anymore. So this ACC race right now to me is really it's really a two-dog race with Georgia Tech, Syracuse sitting on the side watching. Like it's Florida State, Miami's to lose. Whoever ends up being the better of those two in the end is probably your ACC champion. And I think this is going to be this game could go one of two ways, right? You play close and people start to wonder, was the Alabama thing a fluke? Were you just kind of really hyped for that one game? Or you come out and you take care of your business against Virginia like you're supposed to as Florida State, and it kind of reaffirms this idea that you're back in here to dominate this season. I have a lot more faith in that as the result. So give me Florida State to win this game comfortably, cover the spread, beat up on Virginia in the house that Thomas Jefferson built, and go out their way back to Tallahassee.
So you said something there during that excellent soliloquy there about Florida State. And it referenced Miami and them two being the two that will be, have major implications for the ACC. And you said Georgia Tech sit on the sideline. Have you seen their schedule? There's a real chance that they're going to be sitting there 11-1 with 0 conference losses at the end of the year, which, wow. If Florida State and Miami both have one loss in conference play, or if one of them has one loss and it's to the other one, and Georgia Tech sneaks in because of their schedule, holy crap, dude. We could be seeing 3 ACC teams in the playoffs, and that would be unreal. Now, back to this game. Like you said, Florida State, yes, or at least I said they played absolutely nobodies. Kent State and East Tennessee, A&M, I believe it is. But listen, whenever really good teams play these lower classification schools, all you can do is just beat them like you're supposed to and move on. And that's what they've done. But I'm going to say this about Virginia. They've got some playmakers for Virginia. And Florida State's going to have their hands full on defense, especially the defensive backs. because Virginia's quarterback has played very solid through their first 4 games, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, over 1,000 yards already. And then their running backs over 300 yards, 6 touchdowns. So if Florida State can really, really play solid defense just like they did against Alabama, there's no shot that Virginia is going to win this game. I think Florida State's going to win as well. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be that Friday night game in the ACC, like you mentioned. It's on ESPN. It's the first game of the night of 4 throughout the night. But I think it's going to be fun. It's definitely a fun matchup here. But give me Florida State. So we got a sweep there with the Seminoles. Moving on to 8 o'clock, newly ranked TCU, number 24, traveling to Arizona State. Arizona State comes in as a 2.5-point favorite. TCU is sitting undefeated. Arizona State with the 1 loss, as we know, to Mississippi State on the road. Since then, they've beaten Baylor by a field goal and beat Texas State by 15. Meanwhile, TCU has beaten North Carolina and then SMU, and then a team that nobody cares about. So, Quinn, this is actually unbelievable. According to ESPN, it's a dead split 50-50 on the matchup predictor here. That's interesting.
Yeah. See, this is why I love the Big 12. I was having this conversation with a buddy of mine the other day. The Big 12 is the most wide open conference in college football. Like, straight up every weekend, anyone could beat anyone in the Big 12, barring just a couple teams who are down, like Oklahoma State, right? I like Arizona State to get it done in this game. Why? Arizona State has tasted defeat. They went down to Starkville, played a highly competitive game with Mississippi State, lost on a late, deep miracle play for the Bulldogs with a bust coverage, got open deep, scored a touchdown, walk-off, big win, super hostile environment. They come out in full force down there in Tempe. And the main reason I favor Arizona State in this game is because it's at home. Let's be real. What's TCU's best win? SMU? I said they were going to get that win, by the way, last week. I liked the Horned Frogs in that matchup. However, SMU and North Carolina, neither of which are as good of competition as Baylor or Mississippi State. Arizona State is a more tested roster, a more tested team, and I think they get this win over TCU with that home field advantage. Now, I think this is going to be a close game, very fun game. This is going to be, no offense to the game we covered prior to this, Florida State and Virginia. This is going to be the game that's on my TV on Friday night, but I like the Sun Devils to get it done.
Yeah, very, very fun game. I again said that TCU was going to destroy North Carolina. I was hoping for Bill Belichick to do well there, but it's been a train wreck, as we all know and have witnessed. Gosh, dude, this is just such a typical freaking Big 12 game, like you said. I mean, you've got ranked versus unranked, but the unranked team is favored, which is pretty typical when you talk Big 12, because nobody really knows how to rank these teams. I think TCU gets it done here. I really, really like the quarterback. I like their offense. I've watched 2 of their games. I watched the SMU game and the North Carolina game, and I think they have a very explosive offense. But when you look at Arizona State here, so far this year, the most points they've scored is 38 against a nobody. They scored 20 against Mississippi State, 34 against Texas State, and then 27 against Baylor. But I think TCU can score, and I think they're going to be able to outmatch Arizona State. Now, listen, let's not forget, TCU is, 3 years removed from a national title appearance. Yes, they got beat in the largest margin of a national title in history, but we don't have to talk about that, okay? They were there. Coaching staff was there. So I think they've got some winning blood down there. So give me TCU to win, and I guess you would call it the upset if you talk Vegas numbers. So I'm going TCU. Quinn's going Arizona State. The over-under that, I didn't mention this, is 55.5.
That's kind of hard.
That's a perfect number.
Yeah, it kind of depends on who you think's going to win. If you think TCU is going to win, I'd say over. And if you think Arizona State's going to win, I'd say under. Because I think if you're Arizona State, you want to get this into kind of a dogfight, get it a little bit more of a defensive battle, get TCU uncomfortable. and vice versa for the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Moving on to finally some Saturday games here in Week 5. This game, Quinn, I'm just going to say this. It's USC, who's ranked 21st, 4-0, looking really good so far, against a team that just got beat by 50, but is still ranked 23rd. I think you can guess who that team might be, Quinn.
Yep.
Illinois. This game, USC's favored by 6.5. According listen, 73% chance to win, according to ESPN for USC here. Interesting matchup coming off a 50-point loss here.
Yeah. Yeah. And this game is in Illinois, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the only reason I think this game's going to be close is because USC has to travel from LA out to the heartland of Illinois. But at the end of the day, I think this USC team's pretty legit. I'm not saying they're going to go win the Big Ten. Pump the brakes there. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. But I think this is kind of like a must-have game for the Trojans. If they lose on the road here to Illinois, their whole season's going to unravel pretty quick. Whereas if they can get a win here, I think they could build momentum off of that win and finish the season pretty good. So, look, some of this might be I had faith in Brett Bielema boys last week, and they got absolutely curbed by Indiana, and I'm just picking opposite of them out of spite. But some of it is like, let's be real. Everyone likes to clown on Lincoln Riley. Name me 8 coaches with more success than him over the last 8 years.
It's tough.
You can't. You can't. So I think he's still a good coach. I mean, look, we all know he struggles coaching defense, but offense, not a problem for USC. So give me the Trojans to get the win here. I do think it's going to be a scrappy game. Anytime that we've got a somewhat even matchup between a team from the main part of the Big Ten going up against a team from the West Coast, I think the game will be relatively close just because of the travel distance, right? Like that's going to play a role. So that's what I think helps keep this game close for Illinois, that and wanting to bounce back after getting beat up like that. But I think there's also a psychological beatdown that happens to you when you lose a football game as bad as they did on such a big stage just last week. Now you got to turn around and play a USC team that's just waiting to actually play a game that matters. So, yeah, I think USC gets a win here.
Yeah, I had big hopes coming into this year for the USC defense in particular. I was hot on USC. I guess at this point it was 2 years ago. I had them in the preseason playoffs, and that was simply not the case. And I saw USC play Michigan State and give up 31 points to Michigan State and said, yep, same old Lincoln Riley, same old USC, won't have a very good defense. However, I'm gonna say something, and this may be crazy. I think USC's quarterback, Mayava, or however you say his last name, fits better in this system than Caleb Williams and will probably be more successful stats-wise in his career at USC than Caleb Williams was. He's averaging 330 yards passing on the year, which is very good if you if you're a casual and do not keep up with college football stats. That's very good. Man, it really makes me sad because when I think about Illinois, I think they got propped up early this year because of the success last year. And this is the problem when you do that is you come up to games like they had against Indiana where you just get exposed. I mean, this seems to me pretty similar to, and I know it's a little different, but Florida State last year. Like they came into the season preseason top 10 because of the year before, and they get exposed week 1 against Georgia Tech, and then it keeps happening. But I don't think they got beat by 53 points very often. And for Illinois to do that, that scares me. I think USC gets this win. And I think Illinois is a fraud. I don't
Yeah,
think they should be ranked. I think personally, I think if you lose by 30 plus, you shouldn't be ranked. I period. It's just the
that's
way
I
it
mean that,
is.
and it's specifically with this matchup, watching how many busted coverages they had against Indiana really worries me when you're about to go against Lincoln Riley. I don't care who's playing quarterback for Lincoln Riley or who's at wide receiver for Lincoln Riley. If you've proven that you can get exposed that badly in the secondary,
Hmm.
it's probably going to happen to you when you play against the Lincoln Riley team. Like, let's be real.
Right. Moving on to a 2:30 matchup here, we've got the number one team in the country, Ohio State, traveling to Washington. Wow, what a travel that is for Ohio State here. To 2:30. Looks like Ohio State's a 9.5 point favorite with a 68% chance to win the game. Funny enough, there's only 1 yard difference on the season between the two quarterbacks in this game. Um, Take that for what you will.
Yeah, don't you love this classic Big Ten matchup taking place in Seattle, Washington? Yeah, now look, I like that 9.5 line. Now, if this game was in Columbus, I would say like hammer that over until you break your computer, right? Like they're gonna kill them in Columbus, but they have to go to Seattle. That's a far travel. That's honestly a sneaky good stadium in college football, like
Hmm.
one of the most underrated places in the country. Um, I think Washington keeps the game close for about 2 quarters, and then eventually the talent of Ohio State's going to wear them thin. I just look, Ohio State beats you with defense, and defense travels. All right, like offense struggles to travel, defense doesn't. I'm going to have a hard time until Ohio State plays an Oregon or a Penn State or a Michigan or maybe a USC. Um, I'm going to have a hard time picking against the Buckeyes. But let's be real, they're a different class inside of their conference. You have to pay your dues when the tax man comes to your door, and that's Ohio State. Okay, and it's time to pay up, Washington. They're going to pants you in the second half. They're going to pull away. They're going to cover the 9.5. I'm not saying they're going to beat you by 30, but they're going to pull away on you in the second half and win this football game comfortably in the end.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's going to win too. I just think it's too much talent. Now, I say that all nonchalantly. I Washington is way better than they were last year.
Yeah,
And I know it's only been 3 games, but I want to give a good round of applause to the way that they've been able to turn the ship around since DeBoer left. I think they're heading in the right direction. Um, and for Ohio State, I think this is going to be a very, very good test since the Texas game. Now, Texas has not looked overly impressive since that game. So my question is, what do you take from that 14-7 win um, toward the end of the year if turns out Texas shouldn't have been the number one ranked team in the country or whatever it was at the time? So that's all I'm going to say on that front. But I do think Ohio State wins. I think it'll be close for about 3 quarters. And you're right, man. Like, there's a reason why Dan Lanning and Oregon could not beat DeBoer in Washington. He just couldn't do it. It's because of the environment. It's because of the crowd. This is going to be the biggest game that Washington's had in 2 years, I would say. Now, yeah, you've had rivals come in, but a team like Ohio State doesn't come to your house very often, no matter where you are.
yeah.
So they're going to show up, they're going to show out, and they're going to be rowdy. I wouldn't be surprised if they take an early lead by 10 points and then Ohio State settles in and just uses their talent in order to come back and win that game. So I think Ohio State will win as well. Um, I think they'll cover the 9.5. That's a perfect number, man. That really, really is. Because I mean, a
It is a
10
good
point
number.
win sounds more logical, but man, that's just a half a point to make that cover. So that's
Yeah,
tough.
yeah.
Moving on to another 2:30 matchup. I think this game is going to be overshadowed by the two bigger ones in the day, right? You've got Bama, Georgia, which we will get to. Okay, you've got Oregon, Penn State, which we will get to, both at night. This is the 2:30 matchup um, on ABC between LSU and Ole Miss. A great, great SEC game. Um, at which point you've got LSU coming in ranked 4th in the country. Ole Miss is 13th. According to ESPN, holy crap, 73% chance for Ole Miss to win the game, and they are favored by 1.5 at home.
Yeah, you're never going to overshadow the Magnolia Bowl, man. This is one of my favorite games in the SEC play, especially in the Kiffin era. This game has been so much fun over the last handful of years between Ole Miss and LSU. Look, I get where some people are leaning Ole Miss in this. Let's call a spade a spade. That LSU offense has not been very impressive. Now, it came out that the Nussmeier's been playing with an injury. Let's point out another thing. Right, LSU's defense has been good. Like they are actually legitimately very good. Man, I've struggled back and forth on this one, but at the end of the day, man, Brian Kelly is a fraud in big games. Like, let's just call it what it is. I know you guys have been beating this drum forever, and I've been a Brian Kelly defender for the most part. I genuinely do think he's still, not many coaches have made it to a national title game before. You know what I mean? And I know he only made it to one, but he made it there. But after watching Marcus Freeman do with Notre Dame last year, what no coach since the BCS era could do, which was win a major postseason game. And he didn't just win one, but he won 3 of them before losing the national title game. Brian Kelly couldn't have done that with Notre Dame. They would have beat Indiana, and then they would have turned around in the next round and got beat by Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. That's what would have happened. Mm-hmm. They definitely wouldn't have beat Georgia and Penn State on their way to a national title appearance. Lane Kiffin, on the other hand, man, that guy's got some dog in him, especially when you got to come to his stadium. All right. I like Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss to win the game.
Wow. I know Chase, when he watches this and we tell him about this video, is going to be so happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chase has been wanting me to turn a leaf on Brian Kelly for so long. I think it actually makes him angry every time.
I think it does too. Yeah. Same thing about me and USC and well, I guess both USC, South Carolina, and Southern Cal. But back to this game here. Ole Miss beat Tulane 45-10, and they beat Tulane so bad. I might add, he was throwing oops on the sidelines to celebrate mid-game. I mean, name another coach that's doing that and having that much fun while he's doing it. The players love him. The fans at Ole Miss love him. Every college football fan either loves him or hates him. There is no in between whenever it comes to Lane Kiffin. I personally love him. I hate Brian Kelly. After watching that, I don't know if you watched the Netflix doc on LSU that came out right before the season. I hate him even more. I don't think, just like you said, he can't win the big ones. I've said that time and time again. I don't buy that Nussmeier was playing with an injury, because if that were the case, he wouldn't have played their last game against a community college. I think he would have just sat that one completely out, got completely healthy, especially when you have a game coming up the very next week against Ole Miss. I just don't think that you play in that game if you genuinely are hurt. And he could have been. I mean, it could have been a nagging injury. I don't know, but I'm not buying it. I don't see any, hard facts that says he was. I'm going Ole Miss in this one too. They're at home. That place is going to be rocking. And I just don't trust LSU's offense.
Well, and here's something just to bring up, just to play devil's advocate for a minute. It didn't look very great against Arkansas, who just got done losing to Memphis. All right, and they played Arkansas in Oxford. So, just saying, again, I'm with you. Ole Miss is winning this game, especially when LSU's best win, and what I was really hanging a hat on them for, was beating Clemson 17-10 in Death Valley. All right, well, Syracuse just beat them by more than that in Death Valley. So,
Right.
How great was that 17-10 win?
And I just want to say this about Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. Their starting quarterback goes down, right? And all of a sudden, you got freaking Trinidad that's putting up video game numbers who came from Division III last year. There's 140 FBS teams. And out of all teams, Ole Miss was like, that guy. Lane Kiffin said, I want him in Division III. Not another Division I, not even Division II, Division III. And this kid is a freaking baller. I just wanted to shout that out. He had 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 112 yards rushing against Tulane. Just an unbelievable game. So shout out him and shout out Lane Kiffin and that explosive offense for being able to produce, quarterbacks that put up these kind of numbers. But me and Quinn both are going Ole Miss. I know Chase is going Ole Miss because he's a Lane Kiffin lover. So that's
and a Brian Kelly hater.
And a big Brian Kelly hater.
Could be the captain of that club, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, moving on to another 2:30 matchup here. We've got Auburn, who just got done losing to Oklahoma. We're not going to go into too deep of a tangent. A lot of Auburn fans are mad, saying that the ref screwed them, which they did make a bad call twice. Okay, they made 2 bad calls. But I, for one, am never going to be somebody that says, oh, well, the refs caused me to lose this game. No. You just got beat, okay? You gave up a safety at the end of the game when you had a chance. You had the ball and had a chance to go down the field to give up a safety because your offensive line sucks, okay? So if you're an Auburn fan, if you're going to be mad at somebody, be mad at your offensive line and the offensive line coach. Those are 2 people that you need to be mad at. But that's my side tangent. Auburn at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 6.5-point favorite with a 68% chance to win, according to ESPN. Is this the beginning of the Auburn nosedive, or do you think they try to ride the ship here?
Well, first, I need to issue an apology. I got on here last week. I said Auburn was going to lose by 3 touchdowns. And that upset a lot of Auburn fans in the comment section. And I promised, they wanted us to do a call-in show. We don't have the ability to do that. But what I can do is get on here and say, I am sorry. Oklahoma made too many mistakes down in their own end, was not able to finish drives, and you only lost by 7 points. So congratulations. Your prize is now you get to go on the road to Texas A&M, who's had a bye week to get ready for you, has an athletic quarterback, which is going to stress your defense, has a really good front 7, which is going to bully your offensive line again. You still have a quarterback that can't consistently throw the ball downfield. You got a head coach that honestly is going to start spiraling if he loses here. Don't forget, you got Georgia coming up too. Like, it's not like the schedule is getting any easier. I'm taking A&M, man. I just really like Mike Elko. I was honest. I got on here at the beginning of the season. I said I didn't trust this Auburn team. I thought they'd lose to Baylor. They surprised me and won. I thought they'd lose to Oklahoma by a lot. They surprised me and only lost by a little. All right, but I'm still not going to take them against Texas A&M here. I like this Texas A&M team. I like the physicality that Mike Elko and his teams bring. I think they're going to be able to establish a push on the line of scrimmage, and they're going to get pressure against Jackson Arnold, because I don't trust that Auburn offensive line whatsoever. They got to go into another hostile road environment against a team who's been studying them for 2 weeks. It's just not a good, and you're coming off of a loss where, frankly, I'm a little worried with the atmosphere around that team right now, that they're more hyper fixated on how the refs screwed them than what they did to lose. And if that's the mentality that's going around in your building while A&M's getting ready for you, you're going to go get beat again. Like, that's just how this works. All right. So I'm taking Texas A&M to win. Now, I'm not going to get on here and say anything outlandish like Texas A&M's going to win by 21 plus points. They're going to win by 17. Okay. So, no, I'm kidding. Texas A&M wins by like probably 10.
I I was extremely impressed by Auburn's secondary in the Oklahoma game. I think John Mateer should have had a much bigger game than he did in that game to me. But Auburn was able to do something defensively, whether it was the front seven giving him a little bit of pressure, or was it the DBs that were just locking down the receivers? I don't know. It could have been a little of both, but I was extremely impressed with Auburn's defense in that game. But yeah, dude, your offense is like 10 sacks, brother. 10 sacks. Like, I think that was a record. Was it a school record for the most given up sacks in a game? It
I think so.
I think I saw where that was a record. That's embarrassing, man. And Texas A&M, like you said, coming into the game after a bye week, Marcel Reed is an unbelievable freak nature of an athlete on third down. Quinn, I think you said that it may have been last week before we were recording. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing for the first couple of downs, and then on third down, he just all of a sudden turns into, prime Cam Newton and will do whatever it takes, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and then he'll
Um,
turn around and be trash on first and second
yeah,
down again.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It literally makes no sense. Um, I don't think Auburn gets this win. I think they lose back-to-back SEC games here on the road, which, let's be real, that's a tough schedule to play Oklahoma and Texas A&M in back-to-back weeks on the road.
Yeah, no.
Um,
I mean, if you want to complain about something right now as an Auburn fan, go and find whoever made this your schedule for you, because that's not fair at all.
yeah,
Playing on the road against Oklahoma and then turning around and playing on the road against A&M, and they're coming off a bye. That's stupid.
yeah. It's not looking good for Auburn. Um, I can't disagree with you with the 17-point advantage to A&M here. I disagreed with you against Oklahoma. Um, But after that game, man, you're hurt. Now, this could also fuel Auburn here, right? To say
Yeah, it could.
y'all screwed us, okay? So we're going to turn around and we're going to actually play good football to win a game so that the refs have no impact. That's very well possible. I think if they were playing at home, I would almost guarantee that that was going to happen, even if it was A&M. If they were playing at home, I can almost guarantee that was going to happen. Another long travel here. A&M gets the win. I think it'll be again close to that 10-point mark. I said that against Oklahoma. I think it'll be a 10-point game again. I think it'll be close, just like Oklahoma for three quarters. And then your offensive line breaks down some more. And all of a sudden, you're looking on 7 sacks on the game for the O-line. Marcel Reed's having a very good game. But I do want to bring this up. Auburn's front seven on defense when stopping the run has been phenomenal. And we cannot overlook that Auburn's defense is very, very, very good. It's just
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold sucks. I said that when he transferred there. He's a terrible quarterback, and he can't win you football games. Heck, he can barely not lose you football games, much less go win a game. Until I see that happen, he's forever going to be not a quarterback that can go win you a game. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I found it hard to disagree with that.
Moving on to a nightcap game, we have the College Game Day special here. Game day will be in Happy Valley for number 6 Oregon at Penn State. Number 3, it's a whiteout game from what I hear. Penn State's favored by 3.5 at home, which if you guys know anything about spreads or anything like that, that's what you get for having home field advantage. So Vegas says this is pretty much a 50-50 game. ESPN Analytics agree. They give the slight edge to Penn State by 1% here. This is a matchup of epic proportions for both of these teams. So Quinn, I'll just let you get right on into it.
Yeah, no, congratulations, Penn State and Oregon. We're finally going to see you guys play against the football team that has a pulse, and I am excited because this is going to be a huge game. And for the Oregon fans that are like, hey, we played Oklahoma State. So did Tulsa, just saying. Look, all jokes aside, both of these teams have played pretty good football against their lower competition. Oregon absolutely did disgusting and vile things with the hopes and dreams of Mike Gundy. It was bad. I wouldn't I would not advise people let their children in the room for what I watched. I was at an antique store with my wife watching what Oregon was doing to Oklahoma State, and I felt bad.
So
I
you were sitting there
felt
with Mike
terrible.
Gundy in an antique store then, huh?
Yeah,
Old washed
exactly.
up. Got it.
um, man, I'm really excited for this game. Look, this is a lot of ways. Look, look. I'm gonna call space spade. We picked Notre Dame and Penn State last year in the playoff, and I said, and I quote, "I'm done. I'm done. I love you, James Franklin. I've had this back and forth thing with you for years. I can't trust you, and that's not changing. Okay, I can't trust you. It's unhealthy. The relationship I had with James Franklin, me and you both, Freddie.
Yeah, I know.
Look, we're having an AA meeting right here, buddy. This our relationship with James Franklin was unhealthy for our souls. Okay, Chase has always been right. I hate to say that. I'm glad he's not here to take this in. Okay, the man, arguably, at least Brian Kelly beat Alabama back in 2020. 2022? At least he got
Mhm.
that big win there. What's James Franklin's big win, man? He beat Ohio State back in 2016. He's been coasting off of it for a decade. Okay, he cannot win big games. I don't think it's going to change here. That squad Dan Lanning's got is super good. Oregon is going to be another really big threat for the postseason again this year. Honestly, until Phil Knight croaks, Oregon is probably going to be in the playoff every single year because that man is just he has opened up his checkbook to unlimited money to the University of Oregon until he dies. Okay, so I'm taking Oregon in this game. I know it's going to be great. It's going to be a great game. Penn State's going to be winning probably at halftime. I would say they're going to be winning in slugfest. It's going to be all them, and then in the late third, Oregon's going to start driving, and they're going to go take the lead. And then Penn State's going to sputter, and then Oregon's going to drain a bunch of clock and kick a field goal, and then Penn State's going to go score a touchdown and make it a 2-point game and kick an onside, and then Oregon's going to get the onside, and then Penn State's going to force a 3-and-out using all their timeouts, and then they're going to get sacked and run out of time and lose the ball game. Like that's what's going to happen. Okay, not in that exact manner, maybe, but you know the vibe I'm giving Nittany Lions fans. You know what I'm saying. Do you think? Do you really think you're winning a top 10 matchup? Honestly, answer me that question. You beat top 10 Boise State. Good for you. You beat top 10 SMU. Good for you. Those teams weren't on your caliber. We know they weren't on your caliber. Okay. I'm not taking Penn State in a major Big Ten game until they actually prove to me that they're winning a major Big Ten game. Give me the Ducks.
Me and you both, Quinn.
I know, man.
Penn State, James Franklin. We both said last year that we were done. In the recap video when they got beat by Notre Dame, I think we actually recorded that probably like directly after it happened. We were both distraught. Chase was happy. He was excited. And this is not just a normal team that's coming into Happy Valley here. This is a Dan Lanning team that can put up 70 points like it's nothing against Power 4 competition.
Mm-hmm.
And it pains me that this is the first game that we get for either of these teams that's worth watching. It really does pain me. And I do and Dan Lanning in Oregon is going to go into Happy Valley and get beat, son. Listen. No,
Dude,
no,
don't
son,
do
listen,
this.
listen. I know you said that this was an
No.
AA meeting. Okay.
You can't quit your
I'm
drug.
not
Your
saying it.
drug is
I'm not
James
saying it.
Franklin,
I'm not
and you can't
saying
quit it.
I can't quit it. It's the greatest thing on earth, and that's Penn State and being one of the only people that's on the Penn State train here. Okay. Whiteout, Happy Valley. What more can you ask for? James Franklin in a big game. Okay. Fourth game of the year. if
Don't say if they lose you're done, because you're not, man. They're gonna play
listen,
another big game and you're gonna drink the Kool-Aid again, Freddie. Look, I've been there, man. I've been there. We've been there together for 3 years, brother. You gotta come clean.
you're jumping ship too early. That's the problem.
4 years isn't too early, Freddie.
They finally got a quarterback. They got some receivers this year. Their defense is good like always. Okay, the biggest problem has been the quarterback play, and the skill position players have always sucked outside of Saquon Barkley and a couple of other running backs over the course of the last decade. But now they can score some points. Okay, I'm not doing it. James Franklin, I'm telling you, my happiness, my love for football depends on you Saturday night at 6:30 Central Time, to be specific, on NBC. I don't know what else to say. It's going to happen. It has to happen at some point. Quinn, he can't just keep losing over and over. We said this about Harbaugh, and what happened?
Freddie, have you
Who
heard
won an
of
Natty? Who? I mean, yeah, they cheated. Okay, yeah, they cheated, but they won a Natty.
Have you heard of the sunken cost fallacy?
No, you were absolutely invisible right now.
Yeah, my light went out, so
Oh, that's tough.
I am invisible to the audience, but you can
That's
hear my
fine.
voice. Have you heard of the sunken cost fallacy?
No.
That's what you're experiencing right now. It's the idea that if I just keep giving and giving and giving, it's got to work out, right? It's got to work out. No, man,
It's got to, Quinn.
it won't. It won't.
It will. Oh, gosh. Golly, I want it so bad. Penn State, I'm telling you. I'm freaking telling you. This is not your last straw, but this is your second to last straw, okay? I cannot deal with 2 more of these heartbreaks. Oh, I love it, dude. I wish Chase was here for this one. Golly, dude. Oh, we're split here. Oregon and Penn State. I know Chase is going to Oregon. Guys, let us know down below which which of these 2 teams do you think is going to win this game and by how much. And subscribe as always. We are here every week delivering content, 6-7 videos a week. For you guys, let us know how we're wrong. Subscribe, share to your friends, the whole 9. I'm Freddie. I've been joined with what used to be Quinn. Now he's imaginary.
Yeah, no, I'm imaginary like Penn State's chances of winning this.
Stop it. Now, okay, now you're just a hater. Okay.
No, you sucked all of the energy out of the room. That's exactly what you did. You just whoop, it's gone.
I'm going to be laughing on Sunday when finally I get the taste of victory with James Franklin and Penn State, and I know that you jumped off the ship early and you're going to regret it. I won't regret it. I won't. All right, guys. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.